Jake Haro, the father of 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro, was sentenced yesterday to 25 years to life for the murder of his 7-month-old son. Was it enough? And what happens next with Rebecca Haro? Let's talk about it. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Well, hello there, my friend, and welcome back to another true crime conversation. This time about 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro, whose body, by the way, has still not been found. But on this channel, if you're new here, we like to cut through the sensationalism. We like to cut through the fluff. We like to get right down to the nitty-gritty of true crime. And if that's something that you like, then you found the right place. And I'm glad you have. I hope you stick around. Okay, let's not bury the lead. This guy right here, Jake Haro, pleaded guilty to the murder of his son, a 7-month-old child. Now, there is so much about this case that is just beyond the pale. It's even offensive to think about just how bad it is. We've gone over it here on the channel. We've done 6 or 7 videos on this case, but the main thing, the main theme is that this guy pleaded guilty to CA of his other child and was given a complete and utter slap on the wrist. He hurt her so badly that she still, according to the DA and the Riverside County Sheriff's Office, she has like a lifelong disability because of how badly he beat her when she was just a little one, like 10 months old or 10 weeks old. It was so beyond the pale. And he was given a slap on the wrist, and now a 7-month little baby angel boy, whose body has never been found, is dead. He's presumed dead, and Jake Haro has pleaded guilty to that crime, and indeed has now been sentenced. So let's just do a quick little recap. I brought up a Los Angeles Times article that was written back in August but updated today just to bring us up to speed, okay? And I'm just going to kind of zip through this a little bit. On October 14th, Rebecca Haro, right here, reported her son Emmanuel missing. And she said that she was at a Big Five sporting goods store changing the baby's diaper when from out of nowhere she gets knocked unconscious, comes to, and the baby is nowhere to be seen. Of course, that like made everybody look for this child, but it wasn't long before everybody kind of went, no, probably not. There were some inconsistencies with the statement. She declined to do an interview. And so by the following day, because I think they reported Emmanuel missing on the 15th. By the following day, they're like, no. So the next day, on the 17th, the couple's other child, a 2-year-old sibling, Emmanuel's sibling, was taken into custody because they were afraid for the child's life. As the case continued to kind of go through, I mean, this case captured national attention, maybe international attention. And it came to light that Jake had a conviction. He had a criminal history. He had a conviction, convicted of cruelty to a child in 2024. And he was also, possession of a handgun. So an arrest warrant was filed for Jake in the child cruelty case involving a baby girl. Authorities responded to his home after the girl was admitted to the hospital. This is back in 2021 with multiple broken bones. According to court documents, the man told investigators he accidentally dropped the child on a sink as he bathed her. Doctors reported rib and skull fractures and a brain hemorrhage, that is bleeding of the brain. As investigators spoke with the father in connection with Emmanuel's case, community members in the Inland Empire, that is San Bernardino and Riverside counties, they refer to that area as the Inland Empire, gathered in the parking lot of the Bit 5 sporting goods store in Yucaipa, where the baby was reportedly kidnapped, had a candlelight vigil. On the 20th, the law enforcement seized Jake's vehicle. On the 22nd, they were both arrested on suspicion of murder in their Cabazon home. I'm going to read a couple of official statements just to bring us back up to date before we get into what I think was maybe the most important part of the sentencing hearing yesterday, and that was a statement by Rebecca Haro's mother, Mary. It's about a 10-minute statement. We're going to watch that together. But yeah, so on the 24th, in an orange jumpsuit, sheriff's deputies, other law enforcement were seen looking for remains of a child, and Jake Haro was with them in his orange jumpsuit right off the 60. On the 26th, they were charged with murder and making a false report to law enforcement officers. The arraignment was continued to the September 4th. County officials stated publicly that the baby was a victim of CA over time. This baby was only 7 months old, who eventually succumbed to those injuries. DA Hestron was joined by Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco and San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dykes in a press conference to deliver updates on the case. We watched that here on the channel. Rebecca and Jake entered a plea of not guilty on the 4th of September. This has actually moved pretty darn quickly. On the 16th, you guys will remember that Jake changed his plea, and he changed his plea to guilty of second-degree murder. Of course, body still wasn't found. Cause of death not disclosed. Whereabouts of the infant's remains continue to be a mystery. And then yesterday, father was sentenced for murder, sentenced to 25 years to life in prison in connection with baby Emmanuel's disappearance. Rebecca Haro, she will have her next hearing in January. She continues to have a not guilty plea. Now, just real quick, this is the press release from the 27th. I think we kind of covered everything there. Yeah, let's just see if there's anything. Yeah, nothing. We've got everything there. And then this is something that we've covered as well. This is when he changed his plea from not guilty to guilty of second-degree murder. So let's see. He pleaded guilty to murder, child endangerment, filing a false police report. He was scheduled to be sentenced yesterday, which he was. I don't think there was anything else that we have in there. Okay, so let's read the release from yesterday, okay? Today, November 3rd, a judge sentenced the father of 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro after he pled guilty to the court last month. Jake Mitchell Haro, date of birth 2993 of Cabazon, was sentenced to 25 to life by Judge Gary Polk at the Riverside Hall of Justice. He was charged with 1 count each of murder, assault on a child under 8 causing death, and filing a false police report. The court found CA resulting in death to be the principal offense and imposed an indeterminate term of 25 years to life in state prison. Haro was also sentenced to 180 days for filing a false police report. In his prior CA case, the court imposed an additional 6-year term and another 8 months for being a felon in possession of a firearm. All sentences ordered to run consecutively. Haro was further ordered to pay $10,000 in restitution. He was credited with 551 days for time served. I would imagine that that included time that he served while he was awaiting the other case. Just some quick math here. 551, that's about 18 months that he has credit. So it looks like 25 to life plus 6 plus 8 plus 8 months minus 18 months. So hopefully for the rest of his life. Quote, the lies he told in this case only deepen the tragedy of Emmanuel's death, Riverside County DA Mike Hestron said. While today's sentence represents a measure of accountability for Jake Haro, our office will continue to seek justice as the case against co-defendant moves forward. That, of course, is Rebecca. Jake Haro, blah, blah, blah. His wife, Rebecca, date of birth 2/3/84, maintains her not guilty plea. Next hearing is a felony settlement conference scheduled for January 21st. I think, as of the news release, as of yesterday, the remains have not been found. Now, let's pause this. Let's talk before we do the video, which I am really looking forward to. What I've done with the video, it's thanks to Court TV. I think there was just a pool camera in there because I saw the exact same shots on the local ABC channel, the local NBC affiliate as well. So I think it was just a pool camera, but I'm getting this from Court TV. I bumped up the audio a little bit so we could hear her better, and I kind of edited it. I didn't cut and splice it. I just kind of took the first couple minutes of her testimony, or her, I guess, victim impact statement off because it was her spelling her name and kind of doing that sort of thing. But we're going to watch that in just a second. Before we do, let's see what you guys are talking about over here. Oh, I did do a poll asking you guys, was the 25 to life enough? Out of 84 votes, it looks like 13% said yes and 87% said no. So I think most of you are on the same, kind of my same line of thinking. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh my goodness, you guys are not putting your GFs in there. So nothing you wanted me to see. Okay, so good. We're moving right along. Let us head on over to this right here, which I already have up. And again, I bumped up the audio. It should not blow out your eardrums. I kept it 6 dB down, but I kind of compressed it up, tried to get rid of some of the noise. So there are some kind of digital artifacts of trying to get rid of the noise and bumping it up a little bit. I hope you guys don't mind that. But I wanted us all to be able to hear what she said. Here we go.
I wanted Jake to face me, to look at me.
This is Rebecca Haro's mother, Mary. The last name is different.
Because I told him that I would be here for his sentencing before he was arrested. I talked to him as a friend, to tell me everything. Because he didn't give me the opportunity to meet my grandson. He destroyed my whole family. He branded his children for life. He damaged all his children for life. And in doing that, he destroyed my family, my children, everybody in my family. All my children are destroyed by this. He changed my daughter to where we don't know who she is. He never gave me a chance to see my grandchildren. He kept my daughter away. I don't know what he did or how he changed my daughter's life.
Hold on. I just
that
hit the wrong
same
button.
Person after.
Real quick, calligraphy. Not sure how the plea directly to the court judge works either. Okay, it's going to be different in every municipality, every county, every state's going to be very different. But as it was explained by DA Hestron, the there are two ways that a defendant can plead guilty. Number one is by negotiating with the district attorney's office for basically whichever party has a little bit of leverage, they will negotiate. And then based on that plea deal that they make, the district attorney will agree to certain things. They'll null pros or drop certain charges. They will recommend a certain sentence. They will, they will lower charges, that sort of stuff. And then it is presented to the court. Now, I know at least in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the court does not have to abide by the plea agreement, but typically does. Then, according to Hestron, there is the kind where in a court conference, having not negotiated with the district attorney's office, a defendant may just say, I'm going to plead guilty. I'm changing my plea from not guilty to guilty. I did it, Your Honor. And in those kinds of hearings, the judge will go, do you understand that you're giving up your rights? And they will ask a bunch of questions to make sure that the person is knowingly changing the plea. They know what the consequences of that are. And then the court, there is no agreement with the district attorney's office. There was no negotiation, so that it's solely in the court's hands. That's what I understand to have happened the first time. And that is what happened this time.
She wanted to live with him. The only reason Rebecca came back, because in March I had a stroke, and my son got hold of her and told her I was in ICU. That's how I met Mackenzie, my 2-year-old granddaughter. I didn't even know she existed. Because I was not aware that she was pregnant with Mackenzie. I was not aware that she was pregnant with Emmanuel. I never met Emmanuel.
Oh, this is sad. You know what? On my end, I guess I didn't see a bunch of comments. Sorry about that, guys. That it hasn't refreshed for me.
No, it deprived everybody.
Listen to this. This is sad.
And it has hurt my children because the media has torn all of my children apart, okay? Because they say, Grandma knows, Grandma isn't on it, Grandma doesn't know nothing. If I had known what was going on, I would have take my daughter out of there forcefully, or I would have called the police. My sons would have come and got her, okay? Never did we ever knew anything. If I had known when I called social service when Rebecca moved in, I called social service to let them know that I didn't like him. Because my granddaughter Irene was afraid.
Meredith, this is just my opinion. I don't know, but he did not bargain with the district attorney's office. So will he testify against Rebecca? He could be called as a witness, I'm sure. But he hasn't agreed to. There was no agreement, which is really interesting.
She didn't want to be there. She called me and she says, Grandma, I don't want to be there. Okay, so I called social service. I asked social service to give me a report of what had happened, what they found out. Oh no, she's fine. The house is beautiful. They have food in the fridge. That's it. Have social service come and told me what he had done to promise his other children. Nothing of this would be here. We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. My grandchildren, Emmanuel wouldn't be gone. Mackenzie wouldn't have been born. Because he had already done a lot of horrible things to his other children. He branded those children for life. And in the same way, branded all my children too. Because I can't go nowhere without they asking me. Every time I go to the store or somebody recognizes me, they attack me, on social media, everywhere. And that is not my doing or my children. This has been horrible for us. I was glad the day that got arrested because I fear for my daughter's life. I fear for everybody. And, you know, he had a second chance. My daughter didn't have a chance with him. Or his children. His children didn't have a second chance. And I think the judge that let him go should be here sitting with him. And so is social service. Because they could have
Look at
told
the
me,
nods in
oh
the back.
no, protocol doesn't allow us to tell you anything. Well, how are we supposed to protect our children if we don't know? The court knows what's going on. I didn't know. I called social service. I didn't know what he had done to his other children. And here he sits, you know, like nothing. Somebody will give him another chance. And I don't want that. Because he didn't give his children a chance. He didn't give my daughter a chance to be happy to take care of her children, okay? My 20-year-old granddaughter, my 18-year-old granddaughter are a mess because of him. Mackenzie, it's totally changed, a little baby, a 2-year-old girl that has nothing, okay? I'm very, very stressed out, very angry at the justice system for letting this guy, giving him a chance. Who gave my grandchildren a chance, a second chance? Did CPS check? Why didn't they tell me? Oh look, this is what that guy does. He takes it out on the children, on the baby. He can't do it to a grown person. He's not man enough to do it to a man, okay? He destroys so many lives. His mom, his brother, everybody, okay? Nobody wants to be here. Nobody wanted to come and look at it. But I have to speak for my grandson and my grandchildren, and for my children too, because they're going through every hell in this world, okay?
Thank you, Mom.
I didn't mourn my grandson that he passed away. We buried him on the 5th of August, and they were saying that, oh, we probably bury Emmanuel in my grandson's, when we bury my grandson, okay?
I think she's talking
I
about
lost
social
my grandson
media
on the 5th.
theories.
We bury my grandson on the 5th of August. Then he calls me on the 14th of August and say that Emmanuel is kidnapped. And then my sister passes on the 17th of August. We didn't have a chance to mourn any of my sister, my grandson, my other grandson, none. Because everybody was angry at everybody because how could this happen? Why? I wish you could look at me and tell me why. He was never in my house. He knew I didn't like him. He knew I called social service, and that's why he kept my daughter away. He changed her so she couldn't have no contact with me or his brothers, okay? Had I had not had a stroke, I would have never met Mackenzie or, you know, probably heard it on the news about Emmanuel, okay? So don't blame my children. The media has blamed my children, everybody. The TikTokers, everybody. Grandma Mary knows. I don't know nothing, okay?
I find it an interesting statement. Like,
And I stand here with you, asking you to give him the maximum. Because I don't want him to give him another chance. He didn't give nobody a chance. He had many chances. He had a chance The judge gave him a second chance. The probation gave him another chance. The CPS, oh well, no, he's fine. He's got food in the fridge and the house is clean. That doesn't cut it, okay? And that's not fair to the children to let somebody out like that.
This is Rebecca Haro's mother.
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm just very, very upset and very stressed out.
And ma'am, no need to apologize. This proceeding here is for you to make your impact statement to talk about how the crime has affected you and your family. I do want to lead with, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for all the hurt that you and your family have gone through.
Well, I've heard.
And I want to thank you for being here today.
I'm here because I'm the only one that wanted to be here because my children don't trust themselves to come in and talk because they're so upset, so angry at this system, what they did. How could they give him a second chance when you see the pictures of the little girl? How? That's beyond me. You get two drunk driving tickets and you go to jail or you pay a goddamn fine. And he, a slap on the hand, go and do community work. Okay? How does that happen, Your Honor?
Yeah, he doesn't have to answer your
I want to
questions.
know how.
You get to just ask the questions.
Anything else, ma'am?
No. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, that is that. I found that a very interesting. Let's see if I can fast forward to, there we are. Victim impact statement. Now, of course, they are victims. She is a victim. She apparently had 2 grandchildren that she didn't even know. According to her, she called social services to get a welfare check, and they reported back that everything is fine and that there's food in the fridge. That's interesting. On the other hand, it's pretty easy to find a person's criminal record. So, is she claiming that she didn't know anything that was going on? I don't know. I don't want to attack her. She's a victim in this. But I don't know. I'm dissatisfied with the victim impact statement. I really am. I was way more satisfied with the families of the University of Idaho victims. Way more satisfied with them. Looks like our Nightbot's having a hard time, right? Cheryl says, "Okay, Judge, tell her thanks and sit down." That's too funny. Yeah, the chat is going really slow for me too. One man's trash. That's exactly what she said, Gavin. Yeah. So I've seen this comment a couple of times. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer. How do I say this? And I'm not trying to be politically correct. I'm just trying to be a little sensitive here because crime happens to everybody, to all walks of life, all ethnicities and family histories and socioeconomic backgrounds and sexual orientations. It happens to everybody. All communities, let's say. But if you live in specifically a poverty-stricken community, then crime is just way more part of the daily life. And I kind of feel like with this family that was the case. I remember one time, oh, how should I want to be very careful here. But okay, there was a family that reached out to me to cover their loved one's murder, and I did, and was happy to do so. And one of the questions I had about the victim was, were they, you know, you know, how were they raised, and what was home life like, and all that stuff. And they told me, oh yeah, just normal home life. And then the first time I visited them, I was like, no, this is not normal home life. Not normal. And you know, I just see, when I look at Grandma Mary here, I wonder if this, I mean, not a tear shed. Not a tear shed. Now her lip was quivering. I'm gonna give her that. But it's as if she is around crime. Not necessarily perpetrating. I'm not calling her a criminal. I'm just saying it's part of her life. So I don't know. Kimbras, Ohio, she had to have known some of his past. Someone looked him up, in my opinion. Yeah, you should be. Should be. Teresa says her other children, 2 others, are in jail and prison. Yeah. It's so funny. Teresa Robbins said, that is what was stated on another true crime channel. My apologies. I cannot remember which one. I listened to it yesterday. Yeah. Tina says, unfortunately, there's a lot of things that someone would consider normal that just aren't and never would be. Yeah. Let's bring up this picture. This little guy. Oh my goodness. That just breaks my heart. 7-month-old little chubby, beautiful baby boy. Yeah, yeah, well, here's another one. Let's see. Poverty is not synonymous with crime. I grew up in poverty, but there were things my mother and father would just not abide by. Yeah, that I think that's what I just said. I think that's true. But I think if we look at statistics, we would find that there's a greater propensity to violent crime, well, to all sorts of crime within the lower socioeconomic strata of our society. And part of it comes out of desperation. Part of it just comes out of being around it so much that it becomes normalized. And then there are the angels like your parents. And I'm not being facetious or sarcastic here. I'm like, there are those that just will not abide. I remember, you guys know that I lived in Argentina when I was a young man, and I lived in a town, I served in a town, I was there as a missionary. I lived in a town called Marcos Juarez. It is still one of my favorite places on earth. I've not been there in 30 years, not since 1995. Yeah, not since 1995. I'm hoping to get there in 2026 with my wife and 2 of our children. But we would go into these places in Marcos Juarez that were the poorest of the poor. And we would go and visit a family there, several families there, that there was a matriarch, and she just would not abide. She was in charge. She would not abide. She would not let her children do bad things. She would not let her grandchildren do bad things. Her husband, she would not abide. And yet they were surrounded by all sorts of unsavory characters and all sorts of terrible things happening around them. But they are an example of poverty is not synonymous with crime, for sure. Teresa says the focus of her statement was about her a lot, in my opinion. I agree with that. Let's see. A couple more before we go. Ali Oz, that would explain Rebecca's attraction to the monster. I don't know. I don't know what I don't get that kind of stuff. Rebecca is 9 years his senior. Um I don't, yeah, I don't get it. Uh yeah. Analytical one continues. Um let's see. Where did analytical one start? I don't have it on my screen. 7 of us kids all graduated from high school, 3 have college degrees, grateful and thankful every day. Yeah. You know, I mean, all of us who are blessed with normal lives should count our blessings every single day. I think about it a lot. Um, my dad growing up was, he worked in aerospace. He worked in, specifically in rocketry. And, I've never been poor. My parents were never rich either, right? But I never was poor. I always had, and there were a couple times where my parents were broke, and we moved into the basement of my grandparents' home. In fact, there are a couple times where Kimberly and I have been broke, and availed ourselves of the same kind of mercy from our parents. But we've never been poor. There's always been a place to land, and I was listening to, what song is that? Jim Croce, like the pine trees lining the winding road. What is it? Is that called I Got a Name? You know, and I carry it with me like my daddy did. What is that? What is that line? And I'm living dreams that he kept hid, right? So, yeah, I am one of those generations that that have been able to kind of step out of where I was born, uh, but only because I had my parents' shoulders to lift me up. Anyway, I don't know why I got on that tangent, but we all should just be very grateful for the blessings that we have in our lives, especially those of us who are not surrounded by crime on the regular. And those who are, like, I sympathize with you and know that you can lift yourself out of it or can be lifted out of it by others. And I hope that you are. Yeah, Mooney's got it. I Got a Name. That's a great song. I don't know. That one touches me because I'm named after my dad. I do carry my dad's name. And I used to hate it. Now I really love it. Yeah. You guys know. You guys know. It's great, great music. It's music from before I was born, and I love it. I love it. Lizanne Grobler says I've been both sides. Yeah. Robin says my little brother is an aerospace engineer. Now that I know he's not poor, makes me think I'm going to ask for a nicer birthday gift. That's funny. Lucia Sea Creature, does it appear to you that in some of these photos of baby do not seem normal? Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. That baby seems to be cognitively impaired because of physical trauma. That's what I think. Like anybody that would see that picture would go, that child is traumatized physically. There are a couple more too. If I can kind of skip through these, this one definitely does, and this one definitely does to me for sure. So sad. Yes, Robin, you definitely should ask for better birthday gifts. Now, speaking of gifts, guys, it is November of 2025. My wife and I were married in November of 1999, which makes this our 26th anniversary coming up later this month. I need help. Okay, we're just going to tangent here for a second, okay? I need help. You can help me by asking me questions here, okay? We will go, and everybody else can just tune out. Anybody who wants to help, just stick around, okay? I am the world's worst gift giver. I am the least thoughtful person in the world. I hate to use words like this, but my love language is language. I express my love to my snuggly bear, my one and only, through language. But I would like to get her something. I would like to get her something for her 26th anniversary. A bauble. Doesn't have to be anything special. So ask me questions that will help you determine what kind of gift I should get to my snuggly, my one and only. Okay. So this is what I was thinking. When we were dating for those like 3.5 hours, when we were dating, she was living at her parents' house. She had just come home from a mission of her own and was living with her mother and dad. I was living in an apartment a few miles away. And so after our dates, we would go back. We spent a lot of time at her folks' house because she's the oldest of 9, and she had a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old little sister, and I loved them. I still do. They're now 27 and 30. But anyway, I loved those little girls, and I loved hanging out with them. But in her parents' backyard, they have a trampoline, a big, like 14-foot circular trampoline. And we would just lay on the trampoline, we'd look at the stars, and we'd talk about the future. And that is the place where I suggested we get married. No, it was not a proposal because I was too chicken for that. I just suggested that we should get married. And she said, I think that's a good idea. And then we were engaged. Next couple of days, we were buying rings. Anyway, so I thought the 26th anniversary is supposed to be a sculpture anniversary. Can I find a sculpture of a trampoline? Just a little one. It would be cute. And it would be a little bauble that is meaningful to us. But you might be surprised to learn that nobody makes sculptures of trampolines. Tony asks, where did we meet? Tony, we met at church. I moved into an apartment in Fair Oaks, California, and went to a local church, and she walked in. And I told my roommate, my friend, did you see that girl who walked in? Hands off, I'm going to ask her to marry me. I never did ask her to marry me. I just suggested we get married. It's really funny. Autumn says, get a ring with kids' birthstones. I just don't think that's my wife. She's not really a jewelry person. She wears her wedding ring. She wears earrings. Like I once got her, I was on a business trip in Southeast Asia somewhere. Where was I? I can't remember. And I bought her some Tahitian pearl like earrings and a pendant. Didn't go over well. She's just not really a jewelry person. But the kids' birthstones, now that does add meaning. Yes. Does she like to read? She loves to read. She's a voracious reader. What does she like bobbly-wise? Kimberly doesn't really like baubles. When you come into our house, anything that I take that back. But like most of the things that are bobbly in our life, like see behind me, see that little can't get him. See that guy right there? That's Don Quixote de la Mancha. That belongs to both of us. But that is a Yadro that was given to us by one of my teachers who loved Don Quixote. And it's one of the very few baubles. We have a couple of others, but yeah, nope. She doesn't really like baubles. She does love the kiddos. She loves the kids. Something that would remind her of the kids would be good. And so, yeah, maybe maybe a birthstone ring. Lisanne says, get a candle and read her a poem. Would I have to compose the poem? Get her a candle and read her a poem. That's a good idea. Hand of Ike, get her a Gretsch Country Gentleman that she's always wanted. Oh my goodness. You know me, Hand of Ike. I've wanted that 6122 forever. I don't think she'd appreciate it. Do I want to get her jewelry? No, listen, there is one piece of jewelry that I bought her that she continues to wear to this day, and that is I bought her a nice watch. I think that was our 10th anniversary. And it is her daily wear. She wears that watch every day. In fact, it needs to get repaired. I need to get some service done on that. But if it's functional, yes, like a watch. Maybe, come to think of it, maybe she would like an Apple Watch. Maybe she would wear something like that. I don't know. Robin says, what does she love but would never buy for herself? The older I get, the more my husband and I go for events, a concert, a play, a trip, etc. Okay, let's think about this. The thing about my wife is that she's the world's cheapest date. She's the cheapest person ever. And what she loves is security. She loves the bills being paid. She loves groceries in the cupboard and in the fridge. She's just a very practical, pragmatic woman. But an event, one of the things that we did this year, we went to it was a philosophical symposium that was put on by a local philosophy club, like a philosophy society. And the speaker was a philosophy professor, and he talked about Aristotelian ethics. And we both really enjoyed that. We really enjoyed that. So maybe an event like that. Maybe I could find something like that. Get her a trampoline. Well, listen, when you start your life with your Snuggly Bear, your one and only, and it starts on a trampoline, that means that a trampoline is never absent from your life. Okay, we're squared away there. We're squared away there. You might be able to find a small trampoline that's part of a dollhouse furniture. Oh, slow clap for you. Yes. 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 Trampoline music box, another great one. Robin says, get her a card with a trampoline on it saying, you're so happy you both jumped into love together. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is good. Kel says, write her your story. Oh, words are my love language. And I'm not a poet. I'm just not. I'm not a poet, but I can write. I got that from my dad too. It's not just his name. I got that from my dad. That's a good one. That is a good one. Teresa says you should get an image of the night sky that is exactly what you were looking up at that night you were on the trampoline. Maybe. Maybe. I wonder if she would find that corny. I am a corny person. I like this comment. I've been married 48 years. We made a promise to only buy things we could use. We were on the poor side. A vacation, something for our home, or money for savings. We are practical. We are considering an investment right now. Not a huge investment, but we're considering an investment. And well, I wouldn't want to make the investment like without her like definitely knowing about it and signing off on it. But I was thinking maybe something like that because she is a very practical person. Ooh, there are trampoline charms for bracelet or necklace. Okay. Let's see. To me, experiences, says Kel, are more important. Maybe plan a series of adventures. They don't have to be huge. Oh, I like the word adventure. Okay, listen, here's another thing about us. We live in Pennsylvania simply for the adventure. We did not have to leave California. We did want to leave California, but we also wanted to give our family an opportunity for an adventure together. She likes adventures. So, I mean, that's why we went to Portugal this year, is to check it out and see if that's a place where we want to do our next adventure. So, yeah. Okay. Digital photo frame. I think that might be good for her. Yeah. Yeah, my wife does not make things easy. No, she does not. What about a multi-picture frame of old photos of you and the kids over 26 years? What if it had 26 little holes and there was one picture? You know what? That is a good idea. That has my wife written all over it right there. Right there. Guys, we can stop. We can stop. If I did a picture frame that something that would be like in our bedroom or maybe our bathroom, something that's not really decorative that would be in the main house where guests come, something that would just be ours. I like that idea. Charm bracelet, says Debbie. First charm is a trampoline. Maybe. So far what I'm getting here is we're gonna wrap this up here in just a second, but I want to hear ideas about being adventurous. Okay, I do like the multi-picture album thing, and I do love the idea of writing my story. Um, So I'm just gonna wait for a minute for any suggestions about adventure. Something adventurous. You know, the other thing about Kimberly, one of the things that I've done over the years is she is, like I said, she's cheap. She is a fitness guru. She loves being physically fit. She exercises every single day. She teaches fitness classes, but she is also the world's cheapest person. And so, like, her workout clothes could use a refresh. Her workout clothes could use a refresh. What if I took her to like the Nike store and just said, let's buy you some workout clothes? That's an idea. Mooney says the picture idea is fabulous. No birthstones. Stick with a trampoline ornament. Yes. She's not cheap. She's economically wise. Yeah. I was talking with my father-in-law not this past weekend, but the weekend before. We were out visiting them, and he is 73 years old, and he's like, I'm trying really hard to not embarrass, and he said my mother-in-law's name, by how cheap I am. I'm 70. I should be able to spend money. Yeah, you should, and you should do it. It's so funny. Kel says, my hubby and I love to find places nearest us we've never been or places for food that are unique. You know what? I have been telling Kimberly for years that she would love Thai food. And she would love something that easy. That easy. Maybe visit a place you've never been. That could be a place, a landmark, something that you've never done before and have never been. But close, like within a couple hours. Okay. One tank trip to a cabin for the weekend. I'm not sure what a tank trip is, but like a weekend trip to a cabin? Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Do something like that. All right. You guys have given me some great suggestions. I think the picture frame is a good. I think that's it. I think we got it. You guys, so helpful. So helpful. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here also, and mostly for baby Emmanuel. Very sorry for this little creature. Mira la criatura, tan lindo, tan bello. And his life was snatched from him. Tomorrow we will be back at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. On Thursday, we are going to have Elizabeth from Hillbilly Crime coming to visit with us. Robin says, "Do not drop the ball." I will not drop the ball, Robin. I'm good. I've got it. And I'm in picture mode right now. I'm in picture mode because we've got our Christmas cards that have to go out next month. And so I have been taking portraits of the family and have been laying out the Christmas card, which is my job every year. I am totally into this. Totally into it. Totally into it. All right, guys, with that, I will bid you adieu. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your suggestions. Thank you for your help. I will see you tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Until then, take care of yourselves. Good night. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.